we're trying to hunt not where the pack is, but hunt somewhere else. We see very differently the way Ben was talking, probably a little bit more like David. We've seen FDI in Hungary increase over the last 3 years. 2010, 2011 doubled 2010, 2012 increased even higher. We see things like Oracle, Mercedes, GE all coming into Hungary, which is a very positive. There is negative on the political side, but we see that there is a future. I think we're realistic, though, that we realise that that future is probably 18 months to 2 years out. So it's a case of trying to look at the assets today and being, in effect, a savvy, patient investor, buying in at today's pricing, good quality product, which is going to be long term, and you're going to be able to gain. I think Heintmann's deal last year, it will come through, and even though people probably look at it and go, "God, what do they do that for?" Actually, I think it'll be. We think, both Tim and I were talking about, it will be a positive. I think there will be a reconvergence. How can this country be 1.5 points, 2 points different, from Warsaw? It just doesn't make sense in terms of where the yield positions are. So we think there is that reconvergence, and even in terms of if you look at the long-term macroeconomic position of these countries, it is improving. They are going forward well. Yet there are these political names for today. But if we're looking forward, in terms of looking at EU averages, there is an issue there. I think one of the problems is in terms of perhaps not us as the managers who are investing, in our view. It's actually the people behind, and it's actually getting those people that are going to invest into our funds to invest, because they're slightly looking and going, well, I can go into Spain, I can go into Italy, I can go into Ireland, I can get these type of deals. The return risk profile is quite difficult at times, and particularly for some of the opportunistic stuff. But also, even if we look into Romania, Romania has 22 million people. I mean, that's not, you cannot discount that country. And I think in terms of, e-selling, I mean, that, over the next 2 years, I think we're going to be shocked in terms of the speed at which that is going to increase over the country. I think, look at H&M, for the last 12 months or so, they've been putting a new shop into a city every month. Their expansion has been huge in terms of that. They see a potential. I think as well what we have to realise is that there is a lot of change in terms of manufacturing that is actually coming out of Asia and coming back into Europe, and that is changing perspectives. And again, the cheaper markets like Romania, or Hungary, are actually interesting places for people to go. And in addition, call centres. Call centres are starting to move out of India and out of Asia, and they are moving back into Central Eastern Europe. Romania and Hungary, they have good labour forces, they have good language skills. We've already, if you pick up the phone now and you try to speak to, Lenovo or IBM or some of these, Microsoft, you'll be speaking to someone in Romania, probably in Timisoara. The deal that happened previously where Netty bought the city business, that's a very interesting, secondary position. So we Tim's down there in Bulgaria today doing something which keep confidential, but we're positive. I think I think what is their next step in terms of, I don't know whether there's any other Euro capital people here, but his step is actually more on the residential side in terms of Romania, based on the track record that they've just had in terms of where they're doing. So I think there are interesting opportunities, and I don't think that we should discount it. Yes, of course, there are difficulties in terms of financing, and and the finance isn't as available in those countries as it is in Czech Republic and Poland, and that is therefore an issue in terms of that. But I think it is a moment in these basically next 12 months, 18 months. I think there are moments to actually be into this market, go into these markets, look at appropriate product, and it is appropriate product, and to buy at good pricing before the pack, who will come down, because I think Poland, as David says, last year, my view as well is Poland got too hot, and therefore, where are you going to start getting your returns? You have to move country, and your next country is either, therefore, I think at the moment is Hungary or Romania.